All right, guys, today's video we're going to be talking about running tips for long distance success. And I want to continue to reiterate the importance of really staying consistent, persistent with your training, because there is a lot of ebbs and flows when it comes to succeeding in middle to long distance running. And I've experienced it just like you. I had so many setbacks over the years trying to get faster at the 10K to marathon distance. You know, I had only a certain amount of leg speed when I was in high school, and I started off just like the majority of you. I started off my freshman year running the mile in 5:30, got my mile time down to 4 minutes and 25 seconds as a senior in high school, and quickly realized that I was going to be strong at the longer distances. So in terms of running tips for long distance success, I want you to remember that your best running is decades from now. It's years from now. So don't get discouraged when you have bad workouts or when you have a poor race, or you're in the predicament like we are right now with what's going on in the world. We know what the news is saying. So there's a lot of struggles that people deal with in terms of getting to that next level as an athlete. And just know that this too shall pass. There is things that a lot of people are dealing with, but to be a successful athlete in middle distance to long distance running, you really have to have that courage. You have to have that drive and motivation that you're going to put in the work regardless of what you need to do, regardless what the temperatures are like out, regardless if it's raining, snowing, there's a blizzard outside, you're running through sandstorms. If you're in other parts of the world, maybe you're in Dubai or Kuwait or Iran or somewhere else in the world, where you're going to have to put in the work. And those athletes that do that are that driven and that immersed in what they're doing, are going to be successful. Some of the best advice that I've ever learned: to not spend every single weekend running long, slow distance. And I really want you to pay attention to still running slow on your recovery days and allowing yourself time to recover, so you get those physiological benefits that come about from working hard, pushing and stressing the body, but also backing off and allowing yourself time to recover, rest, and your body to rejuvenate itself. There's a physiological adaptation and a philosophy called supercompensation. If you don't know what that is, I want you to Google that word, supercompensation. I'm not going to describe it. It may complicate things and may confuse you, but I want you to look that word up, supercompensation. Find out what that is and learn. You will quickly learn why running slow is still critically important to running a new personal best at the mile all the way up to the marathon distance. You've got to pay attention to your recovery days. So that's, in terms of running tips for long distance, that's one of the most important tips that I can share with you. Is you have to learn to back off. Allow yourself time to recover from all the hard workouts you're doing. You want to spend time doing one VO2 max workout per week. VO2 max is where you're running at like 175 beats or higher. So everybody's heart rate is going to be different based on age. So what I teach in my running courses and training programs on RunDreamAchieve.com is doing longer runs, doing your long runs at about 85% of your maximum heart rate. So you want to run one weekend running at 85% of your maximum heart rate, followed by the next week by a relaxed, easy jog long run. So one weekend you're doing like say 16 to 20 miles in length, or 32K, 25 to 32K in length in terms of for doing your long run. But you want to run that effort at 85% of your maximum heart rate. And then the following week, just relaxed, nice and easy. You can go out and have a conversation, have no issues running, really relax. That way you allow your body time to recover. One of the most difficult workouts you're ever going to do, and in my opinion, it was the hardest workout I ever did, was my long run. And I didn't start doing long run training at faster paces like that until I was coached by a Boston Marathon champion who told me, hey, you really need to get efficient and become more economical at running longer periods of time at a higher percentage of your maximum heart rate. And extending out and this is my other tip for you, get your tempo run, your anaerobic threshold run out to as long as you possibly can. If you're a 10K athlete, I would advise getting it out to 8 to 10 miles in length, And if you're more of a half marathon athlete or a marathon specialist, I would work on trying to get your tempo run out to around between 12 and 16 miles in length. I'm telling you, if you can get, and you can, but it does take patience. Once you get yourself in such physical fitness where you can extend the amount of time you're running at your anaerobic threshold, which is closer to around 92 to 94% of your maximum heart rate, if you can get to a point where you're doing around 30 to 35K at that distance, or 14 to 20 miles, 14 to 16 miles in length, you're going to be extremely strong and very efficient at running the distance, the 5K to the marathon distance, because you're training at such a high intensity for such a long period of time that you can maintain that pace, and your body doesn't build up as much lactic acid because you're training at paces that are way faster, much faster than you're planning on racing at for your chosen distance. So really the key, in terms of running tips for long distance success, you do want to practice getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, and often. This is I recommend one hard VO2 max workout per week. Examples of the types of workouts that I would prescribe to the athletes that I coach online, and the type of training that I've done in the past, is VO2 max is really intense. It's where you can really only spend anywhere from a few seconds to a few minutes running, because your body cannot clear lactic acid faster than it's building up. You're building up so much lactic acid that the hydrogen ion component of your lactic acid starts to shut down muscle functioning. So you do want to spend that critical time, and it may just be via a few seconds or a few minutes. Examples are like 16 times 200 meters on the track with a 100-meter jog, 6 1-mile repetitions on the track with between 2 and 3 minutes recovery, closer to your 3K to 5K race pace. Repeat 2 miles on the track, doing about 3 reps of those with about anywhere from 4 to 6 minutes recovery. Training, running at around 5K to 10K race pace. Those types of workouts will get you big time results, especially if you're training for the longer distances. When you're training more for the mile or the 800, you're going to have to. It's a much higher anaerobic event, whereas races like the 10K up to the marathon distance are more aerobic events. So you want to have that combination of spending time training at paces that are far faster than you're planning on holding for your entire race. That way you get race pace to feel more in control and less demanding. And it's going to hurt regardless if you're training fast or not in training leading into any race. But if you properly prepare and you set your training up right, you will go into your race in peak shape. And if you peak properly as well, you're going to get in that flow state where you don't have to experience a wall. When I ran 2:19 for the marathon, I was 4th place at the 2007 California International Marathon, and I earned a USA Track and Field Olympic Trials A standard time that day. And I was running with a group of Kenyans, a few Europeans, a Russian, and a Canadian that were far faster than I was. I had run a 107.06 half and a 51:29 for 10 miles prior to that morning. But my best marathon prior to that morning was only, and I say only because it's still a very competitive time, was 2:40.02. So how do you go from 2:40.02 to 2:19.35? It comes down to the marathon is a very complex event where a lot of things have to go right. You have to show potential in other events to be able to run the marathon at your most efficient, economical way. And that does take times where you're going to have setbacks in training, you're going to have poor races, you're going to have poor workouts. I did too. I'm no different than you or anybody else. I took what the little talent I did have, and I really relied more on my work ethic, and I continued to train hard, train smart for years. I was running from 1992 all the way up to around late 2018 when I retired from competitive racing. And all I did was visualize success. I was always focused on what I needed to do to get to the next level in my competition, to be more competitive, to be able to sustain pace longer, to be more efficient, and to get to a point where I could clear that lactic acid that was building up in my bloodstream while I was racing. And another running tip, in terms of running tips for long distance success, I want to talk to you about is the importance of this. Is why I always say to spend some time each week training at paces that are way faster than you're planning on running, because you teach the body to conserve carbohydrate, and you teach it to burn fat at faster paces. So when you're in the race, you conserve that carbohydrate, and you have that extra storage of carbohydrate and sugars at the most critical parts of the race, which is, depending on what event you're competing at. If it's a longer event, maybe like the 10K or a marathon, you really want to have that critical sugar and carbohydrates ready for you at the latter stages of your race, so you don't experience a wall. You do not want to experience a wall. I've dealt with it, and it sucks, but I also had other races where I never experienced a wall whatsoever, because, again, I was training at paces that were far faster than I was planning on trying to race at, and I was well prepared. I knew that I had spent time at those types of efforts, and I also relaxed and jogged on my recovery days. There's far too many athletes that are putting in way too much work and not seeing the results that they want because they're still running too fast on their easy days. You need to take those days. It's called easy for a reason. You should have children that can run faster than you on those days. If there's elderly folks around, they should be able to run faster than you on those days. You should really relax and allow yourself time to bounce back from those hard anaerobic workouts, whether it's on the track or you're doing fartleks or you're doing longer tempo runs, or you're doing those VO2 max workouts that we talked about, where you're doing those repeat quarters on the track at like your 3K to 5K race pace with minimal rest, maybe like 16 to 20 400 meter reps on the track with like a 60 to 90 second rest in between each set, preferably around 60 seconds after each rep when you're really fit. When you're just starting out, you might want to give yourself 2 minutes recovery between each 400. But it's those types of workouts where you're building so much lactic acid that the easy days will allow you to continue to train like that over weeks, months, and years. The better you get at backing off on those easy days and allowing yourself time to recover and jogging and having that discipline to back off when you know you should, is going to set you up for success in the long run. It's how we get to the higher levels in terms of marathoning and 10K middle to long distance running. We get to that level because we're consistent. We put in the work nonstop. We're not quitting. We're not merely interested in being a good middle distance, long distance runner. I can tell you, I did not break a 220 marathon based off of being interested. It was 100% commitment. All I did was focus on what do I need to do to compete at the top level, and why are these runners that are running faster than me, what are they doing to run so efficient for such a long period of time? And it took many years for me to get it right. So I hope these running tips for long distance success has been helpful for you. If you have a specific question, feel free to leave me a comment in the section below. And like this video, share it with other people. All of the support is greatly appreciated to help this channel grow. And again, if there's anything that you need help with, anything I can do to help you, and whether you're training for the mile, you're in high school, or you're a collegiate athlete training for the 3K or 5K or 10K distance, or you're trying to qualify for the Boston Marathon or New York City Marathon, or you're trying to get to the elite level, reach out to me. I have my contact information below. Go to RunDreamAchieve.com. I have training programs and running courses on there that will set you up for success, because you're going to know what you need to be doing on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. It's going to take the guesswork out of your preparation leading into your next races. So hope this video has been helpful for you, and I will talk to you all in the next one.